Hey everyone. You know how it is these days. You turn your head for a second and suddenly everyone's like a generative AI expert.
Right? It's crazy. Everyone's talking about it, that's for sure.
Exactly. And it's like beyond all the buzzwords and hype, how much of it is actually, gonna like really change how we work and live. So today we're taking a deep dive into exactly that. Generative AI. We've got reports from AIPRM, McKinsey, all the big ones to try and give you the clearest view of this whole generative AI explosion. Like, where does it stand right now? Where is it headed? And what does it all mean for you?
It is more than hype, that's for sure. The potential here is really huge, and it's not just for, the tech giants or whatever. It's a much bigger deal than that. This is going to change how business gets done, fundamentally.
Okay, so let's talk numbers for a sec. Because I was looking at AIPRM's report, and honestly, the numbers kind of threw me for a loop. Apparently, the global market for generative AI is already at like, what, $45 billion? That's insane.
As of this year, yeah. And honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg, really. By 2030, they're saying it's going to be over $200 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, to put that in perspective, that's like the entire economy of a small country. And it's all powered by generative AI.
It's crazy. And the revenue is on like a whole other level too. They're saying we could go from $67 billion this year to over a trillion dollars by 2031. It's just moving so
It
fast.
is, but it's easy to get caught up in the billions, right? I mean, what's really interesting is what those numbers actually represent, what they mean.
Hmm.
This is a massive wave of people, businesses, everyone, really, embracing this technology.
Which kind of leads us to the big question, right? Who's actually using this stuff? Is it just like Silicon Valley tech geniuses, or is this something that like regular people are figuring out too?
Honestly, it's going mainstream, like really fast. AIPRM found that over two-thirds of people using generative AI are mostly using it for something surprisingly simple, actually, just asking questions.
Oh, interesting. So you don't have to be like a coder or anything to use it. That's good because I am not a coder.
Nope, not at all. And it's not just tech people either. Like almost 40% of millennials are already using it pretty regularly, they say.
Wow, really? Millennials, huh?
Yeah, and get this, Gen Z is about to overtake them as the biggest group of users.
Hmm.
Which makes sense, I guess. They've basically grown up with this stuff, so it's not as intimidating to them. They just dive in and see what it can do.
That's true.
Right?
It's like anything, right? The generation that grows up with it just like gets it. But okay, so zooming out to the business world for a sec, who's really leading the charge here? Like, which industries are putting generative AI to work the most right now?
Well, marketing and advertising are definitely way out in front. I think AIPRM said that over 37% of people in those fields were already using it in 2023.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but it's not just about writing catchy slogans or anything like that anymore. It's way more than that. We're seeing it pop up in everything from customer service to product development, all kinds of stuff.
So it's pretty much touching every part of a business at this point, or at least it has the potential to, it sounds like. But okay, I kind of hate to even bring this up, but it almost sounds too good to be true, right? Like, what about the downsides? What about jobs? Should we all be like updating our resumes right now and preparing for the robot takeover?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? The one everyone wants to know. And McKinsey found that over 44% of businesses they talk to think that, yeah, generative AI is probably going to lead to at least some job reductions over the next few years.
Wow. Okay, so it's definitely on people's minds.
For sure. It's a big concern. But there's a really important flip side to that, too.
Oh,
Yeah, almost 40% of those businesses, the same ones, also said they're planning to reskill over 20% of their employees specifically because of AI.
interesting. So it's not necessarily about jobs going away entirely. It's more like those jobs are changing, evolving as AI becomes a bigger part of things.
Yeah, exactly. There's a huge need now, especially in roles that involve a lot of tasks that, AI can automate for people to learn new skills and adapt,
Hmm.
you know. And the companies that are doing really well with AI, they're the ones that are putting a lot of resources into making sure their employees can do just that, that they can make that shift.
It's like, what's that saying? Teach a man to fish or something like that.
Right.
But in this case, it's more like teach a person to leverage AI and they'll thrive in this new world.
Exactly. Which brings us to, I think, another big thing companies are dealing with right now, which is just the challenges of actually getting started with AI.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it kind of feels like the Wild West out there right now, right? Like the big companies, the ones with tons of resources, they kind of have a head start, but everyone else is still trying to like wrap their heads around it all. So, what are some of the biggest hurdles for businesses that are, just trying to get in the game?
Yeah, so like I was saying, it's kind of like the Wild West out there. And for smaller companies, there are a few big hurdles they got to, get over. Cost is a big one. AI tools, they can be expensive, especially if you don't have a huge tech budget, right?
Yeah, totally.
And then there's the whole like expertise thing.
Mm.
It's tough to find people who really know AI, inside and out.
Right.
And then even if you do find those people, you got to make sure your team actually knows how to use these tools, right? Like it's one thing to have the tools, it's another to actually put them to work effectively.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole data privacy thing. We hear about stuff like GDPR all the time, but like I feel like a lot of people still aren't quite sure what that is or like how it all connects to AI.
Yeah, no, for sure. Can you like break that down for us a little bit? What exactly is GDPR and what does it have to do with AI?
Okay, so GDPR, or like the General Data Protection Regulation, it's this set of rules they have in Europe about basically protecting people's personal data.
Okay.
So think about things like your name, your address, what you buy online, all that stuff.
Right, right.
GDPR has all these like really strict rules about how companies can collect that data, how they can store it, how they can use it, all that.
Got it. So how does that connect to AI then?
Well, generative AI, like especially generative AI, it needs a ton of data to work, right?
Yeah.
Like imagine feeding it every single interaction your company's ever had with a customer.
Wow.
Emails, phone calls, chats, everything.
That's a lot of data.
It's massive. And that's kind of the scale we're talking about here. So with GDPR, companies have to be really careful about how they're using all that data to like train their AI. They have to be really transparent with their customers, like get consent to use that data, and then they have to keep it secure. It's a huge responsibility, and I think it's something a lot of smaller businesses are still kind of, figuring out, honestly.
Yeah, it sounds like it's not just about like, adopting whatever the shiniest new AI tool is, but also about making sure you're doing it responsibly and ethically and all that, which adds a whole other layer of complexity.
100%, yeah. It's a big deal. And then even beyond those initial like hurdles of just getting started with AI,
Yeah.
there are the challenges that come from, actually using it.
Yeah.
And one of the big ones is making sure that the output you're getting from these AI tools, that it's actually accurate and unbiased.
Oh, right.
Because, these AI models, they learn from the data they're fed, obviously. So if that data is messed up somehow,
Yeah.
or if it's biased, then, well, the AI's output is going to be biased too, right?
Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important for businesses to be super thoughtful, about how they're using this stuff. It's not just about, blindly trusting the technology. It's about like understanding the limitations, double checking its work, and really thinking of it as a way to like augment human intelligence, not replace it entirely.
So what you're saying is the real key to, succeeding in this new AI world, it's not about us all becoming like AI experts ourselves. It's about us all getting really good at those uniquely human things that AI like can't replicate. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, 100%. Things like, critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, all that, that's going to be more valuable than ever because those are the things that AI can't do, at least not yet.
Really interesting stuff. So if our listeners walk away from this deep dive remembering just one thing, what would you want it to be?
Hmm, that's a good question. I guess I would say, remember this. The future isn't about like humans versus machines. It's not us against them. It's about humans and machines, working together. And I really think the sooner we all kind of embrace that collaborative spirit, the sooner we'll be able to unlock the true potential of this whole thing.
That's a great point to end on. The future is collaborative. Really interesting stuff. Thanks for taking the time to break it all down for us today.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no problem. It was fun.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll catch you next time.